to live again with another video. I think today we're going to touch on a very interesting subject that I'm sure everyone or all of you out there have dealt with one time or another, which is lane splitting. Wow. It's really half a dozen of one and half a dozen of the other, meaning for all you riders out there, most of which don't have a lot of experience riding, or have no experience riding or commuting. Let's just say that, commuting, not just riding. I think it's just common sense to realize when you are navigating through traffic and you're splitting lanes and you're just trying to make up some type of time, you gotta know when a lane is too narrow, or you have to know if a lane is too narrow, because I do see riders out there who chance taking the narrow lanes that they split. I don't always recommend it. I myself sometimes do the same, but it still is a judgment call depending on what type of bike you're riding. If you're riding a cruiser, touring bike, adventure bike, those bikes are huge. You cannot split lanes usually with those bikes, and they're very wide. And you got to know that, well, if you see traffic coming up ahead, is slowing down abruptly, you simply can't not slow down and try to take the risks of splitting the lanes if you're on a bike that's way too big to split lanes. Now, for those of you on everything else, crotch rockets, Street Fighter bikes, myself, I'm on a Grom, which is a smaller Street Fighter bike, bigger scooters, everything but the wider bikes that I mentioned earlier. Those bikes can usually, give or take, split the little more narrow lanes, but even still, you gotta still make the good judgment call on if a lane is way too narrow, because what my fiance just recently dealt with was a rider who thought he could make a lane and make a run for it, and clipped her mirror, broke it, shattered it. She had to pull over, called me. It was a whole ordeal. She's fine, but the whole point is that there definitely was, at that moment, a time where it kind of hit home, where it's like, come on. I commute now as well. I'm not just a racer on dirt. And I do realize that, yeah, we have the advantage of the road. We can go faster than everyone. Well, not me, because I'm on a Grom. But for the most part, motorcyclists are dominating the road because they don't have to wait for traffic, and they can split the lanes, which allows them to commute further distance quicker. But I still should suggest that those of you who have little experience, no experience, if you guys don't have no experience, you guys should be coming to me anyway. That's what I do. I teach people how to ride, and I definitely starting to teach people about road awareness for those who commute. And if you haven't already, for those with no experience, or you're just trying to acquire a little bit more knowledge, please visit Fgmx.com or Fgmx.bigcartel.com, and go ahead and email me, or go ahead and comment on this video alone, and get some information, some insight, or gain some perspective on how to just be a little bit more road savvy in and out of traffic, and prevent destroying other vehicles. Now, I did say this is half a dozen of one and half a dozen of the other. The other is on the car side. It's not all the motorcyclists that are making the stupid decisions. A lot of the ones that are making the stupid decisions, like I said, are the ones who have no or low experience on the road or riding, period. They have no experience, they have no awareness of cars or anything like that. So you can't think all riders are stupid, all motorcycles are stupid, they're all dangerous, they're all doing crazy stuff, they're not watching out for cars, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, the other side of the spectrum is cars. There are way too many cars out on the road as it is. We all know that, especially here in LA. There are way too many cars out on the road. It seems like everybody who lives in America lives in California and in LA. I think did some random research and found out there's probably an estimated about 10 million people alone in Los Angeles alone. That's too many damn cars. But on top of that, cars, you guys can be equal to blame, because sometimes you guys don't acknowledge or want to acknowledge that there are motorcycles approaching, or completely unaware because of obvious reasons. You're texting, you're bumping your music really loud, you're talking on the phone through your car, whatever, you're occupied. Ladies doing makeup, eating food, distracted. And I honestly believe if all you automobile drivers out there, if you just crack your windows open a little bit, even the rear windows, or crack all four windows open a little bit, and kind of just every so often keep glancing at your mirrors, which we should all be doing anyway, just keep an eye on if motorcycle riders are coming your way. I mean, it isn't really hard. Even if you're occupied, if you're on the phone, especially if you're hands-free on the phone, you can easily glance at your left and right mirror from time to time. And also, cracking your windows just will allow you to hear, even when you're bumping music, you can hear approaching engines. Not all of them, because there are a lot of bikes who have the stock exhausts on their bikes, and you can't hear anything. It's muffled. You can't hear anything. It's just essentially wind passing your car. We can't do but so much about that, but if you can allow some sound in your vehicle, granted, if it's raining, obviously, come on, let's not be stupid. If it's raining, don't open your window, but at least glance in your mirrors and just watch out for each other. Otherwise, it caused a lot of destruction. And when a car is not leaving enough room, there are the asshole motorcycle rider that will come by and break your mirrors to let you know to move over. I myself don't do that. I try to make my presence known. I ride with my high beams on, and I make sure that if I can, I'm on the gas on my bike, and that I do that to be visible, so I can at least be heard. And granted, if it's too narrow of a lane to split, I don't split. I'll just come to a complete stop and actually wait in traffic for a few minutes. It's not hard, but if we could all do this, especially as motorcycle riders, for those of you who commute every day and see the traffic and are actually in the gridlock, weaving in and out of traffic, I suggest just drive with your high beams on. That's totally okay, because that's making yourself a lot more visible. Even though a lot of the bikes come stock with LED lights and better, make yourself more visible. We can do that. If it's not an exhaust, I know those cost money, a lot of money. It costs $0 to just run with your high beams on. Or not only that, you can sometimes give a courtesy blink or flash of your high beams. Just flick them on and off a few times when you're weaving it out of traffic. Alternate, find your own rhythm, just to let your presence be known. That way cars can see you further up ahead. They can give you more space up ahead. You guys can simply go right on through and there's no issue. You don't have to destroy other people's vehicles because they're not giving you enough room. Let's not ruin a bad thing, or excuse me, let's not ruin a good thing by having us recently be able to split lanes in the first place, because usually we would get ticketed for that in a heartbeat. So I honestly would just try to be as courteous as possible, show people that are riding or driving in automobiles that we're, I guess, more of a dominant driver being on a motorcycle, by being so aware that we're not out there trying to split lanes and destroy cars. We're trying to just commute just like everybody else. We're just doing it smarter and cheaper. And we shouldn't have any issues like this. I'm sure all of you out there who have had their cars destroyed, I guess I'll apologize on behalf of motorcycle riders that your vehicle is destroyed because of lack of experience. Sorry for the music. It's an ice cream truck passing by. For the lack of experience or no experience riding motorcycles. I truly believe that it isn't their fault. It's not their fault because they don't have experience. They don't know. They just don't know any better. But hopefully, those of you who don't know, once again, I'll leave a link at the bottom. Visit fgmx.bigcartel.com. Comment below this video. Message me through the website. I will happily give you some free knowledge on top of a lesson or two. But free knowledge on just being aware on the road, just being aware. That's not that hard. Okay, and I hope this helped give a little clarity out there in the world, because there is a big misconception of motorcycles just being assholes in general. It's not true. I'm not an asshole. I'm actually pro motorcycles, and I'm not a car driver like that. I don't really like driving cars. I prefer riding a motorcycle. It's easier, faster, more convenient, and a third of the price of anything car related. It's just smarter. So, but I do defend automobiles as well, because unfortunately they dominate the road in the masses because there's more of them. There's too many of them. So, and that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But the truth of the matter is, those of you with no experience, come find me, or little experience, come find me. Learn how to ride a motorcycle better, and let's just be more aware out on the road and off-road, which is where I come from. But in automobiles, please just make a little bit more room and be a little bit more aware that motorcycle riders could or could not be coming through a lane next to you. Please be careful. Don't leave your cigarettes out there if you're smoking a cigarette. And I know you're dabbing out the bud or whatever, and not aware that a motorcycle rider is coming by. Please be careful and keep your windows cracked. That way you can hear motorcycles coming. Motorcycle riders, keep your high beams on or flicker them, and people can see you coming. Find yourself a nicely sounding exhaust so you can be heard. Stock exhausts will be hard. They have to sell motorcycles these days with specified stock exhausts that are typically completely quiet, which is a hazard out on the road. But if you can, please go find your nearest motorcycle shop, and don't necessarily find an exhaust that's just loud. That is made for your bike, but and that will just basically give you a better presence out on the road. Because once you're noticeable, then we can all save issues. We won't get hit anymore by cars or other bikes for that matter. But you'll be heard. You'll be saw. People will see you, hear you. On top of that, motorcycle riders, for you guys, get yourself some bright gear, or at least a bright colored helmet. If you don't have one, the helmet you do have, there are many of companies out there. I'm sure you can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Google that will custom paint your helmet. You can custom paint them any color you want these days, with your own design or what have you. But fluorescent colors, bright yellows, pinks, hot pinks, greens, you know, bright Honda red, anything visible that a car can see you coming, makes it easier to be seen so that you won't get hit, and so that mirrors won't be taken off, people's cars won't be damaged. Because I don't think a lot of insurance companies cover a lot of these damages from incidents like this. So honestly, we can save a lot of heartache for people who drive cars, because a lot of those people who get damaged mirrors, especially the electrical mirrors that are automatic, that's expensive. They got to pay for that out of pocket every time, and we're too fast enough for them to even get our license plate. Not that you would want them to, but if we can just prevent this in the first place, we won't even have this discussion. We won't even have this problem. But I hope this video has been helpful to you. Either case, please leave comments at the bottom, and as always, please hit that bell. Please subscribe to this channel. I will be sending you guys more videos on motorcycle related subjects such as this one. If you got some issues that you're dealing with out on the road, or dirt, since motocross is my gig, please leave a comment with that in the bottom, and I'll make a video about it. Simple as that. Just keep it simple. All right, so until then, keep the rubber side down. Peace.